Jamie O Neal joining us live on the program, and you are back in the Tennessee area?
I am. I'm just going to leave for the airport in just a minute.
Now, you're coming out doing a West Coast swing and some of the different dates, of course, including our Saturday night show here at Blue Lake Casino and Hotel. Looking forward to having you here, and it's going to be a lot of fun. You've got a whole history of a bunch of great music, and then you've got this brand new single that is just coming out right now. Let's see, we just played it a minute ago. It's "Soldier Coming Home."
Yes.
Where did that song come from?
Well, I've been on 3 USO trips over there, Operation Season's Greetings, to entertain the troops, and it's not necessarily about them. It's about the fact that of the way they treat each other and the love that they have for their families and how they don't take life for granted. And it's so easy to do that. You kind of get back here and get in the hustle bustle of everyday life, and it kind of you take things for granted, I think, more because you're so caught up in everything. But I think because they're away from their families so much, it really makes them, miss them so much more, and they know how precious life is. So it was kind of inspired by them and how they treat their families, and then seeing them at the airport when they get home. It's such an emotional, moving thing to watch, and to see the soldiers in the airport and knowing that they're making it back, and inspired by that.
Well, that's awesome. So in the trips that you have done overseas for entertaining the troops and such, has that changed kind of your attitude on your own personal life and things that you value and the values you put on different things?
Well, I definitely, I can't, say that I remember it every day, every minute, obviously, but after a life-changing trip of going over there, I'd say, definitely I think about it, and I still think about the fact that, they're over there, and that you just never know, and the great job that they're doing, and I definitely think about them all the time.
Did you ever have...
I can't be on my best behavior 24/7. That's what you're asking. That's impossible. Nobody's perfect.
All right, well, let's talk about that, Jamie. I want to find out about the bad side of Jamie. What is it that usually will get you into trouble? I mean, things that you like, oh, I shouldn't be...
What drives my husband crazy?
Yeah.
Well, I guess impatience, and also I'm one of those people that shoves things in a drawer because I can't stand a mess, and so that drives him absolutely mental because he'll put something down. He says he knows where it is. And I'm like, well, that doesn't count if it's a pair of underwear and socks in the middle of the bedroom. That's not going to stay there. I'm going to tell you that right now.
So Workers have such an issue with stuff like that. That's where we left it. That's where we remember it being.
So you're one of those, if all of a sudden somebody shows up at the door, you're like running around the house and throwing everything under the couch and into the drawers and such. You want it looking perfect as can be.
Yeah, I mean, on the outside it looks all organized, and then when you check on the inside, it's absolute chaos, and that's kind of like how I am personally. So my house represents my soul, I guess.
How many singles have you released over the years? I get looking at your catalog, and you've had quite a few.
Oh gosh, I'm not sure. The ones that have been hits are the ones that haven't.
Well, you've had like anybody, you've had a lot of singles released, and then you've had a good portion of those also have made some big numbers on the charts. How about all of you? Ever kept track of exactly how many of you've actually just released?
No, I couldn't even tell you that. I'd have to think about it, but somewhere around 10, I'd say.
Wow.
Now, Jamie,
quite a bit.
With all the hits and the singles you've let out, how good are you as a judge to saying, okay, I know this is going to be a hit and the public's going to love it, or are sometimes you right on stuff or wrong? I mean, how well can you judge a single when it's coming out, whether it's going to be a hit or not?
I don't know. I think that it's tough because unless the radio stations like you guys play, this is going to be a hit, the fans are going to love it, but if they don't get to hear it, and you know how it is, it's very political, and there are a lot of artists out there vying for the place on the charts, and you just have to have a lot of believers, and it takes a team effort, and you really have to hope that radio stations want to play the song, and then the phones light up when they play the song, because then that makes them play it again.
When you got started in the music business, what age were you?
8.
8. And was this something that you were encouraged to continue to do, or
definitely.
So you always had that support from mom, dad, or somebody to say, "Oh yeah, keep going, keep doing this."
It was basically either you get out there on stage and you work, or you're out.
Fair enough. Now, Jamie, speaking of being on stage, I get the honor of introducing you to the fans on Saturday night. Starting at age 8, you've been on the stage, obviously hundreds, thousands of times. What do I need to do to make sure I do a good job and make sure that stage is red hot for you?
Well, stuttering's never a good thing.
No.
When you're introducing someone.
You just lost your gig.
Yeah, that's tough because it takes twice as long for you to be out there, so that can always cut into
There you
the
go.
momentum.
I will not be out there for very long. As quickly as I can say Jamie O Neal there.
And then, the other night someone called me Kathy O'Neal, so as long as you don't do that, too.
I actually laughed a little bit. I said something about, we talked about this here about an hour ago on the program, and he said, well, I just want to be embarrassed up there, Rollin, and say something like, what did you say?
Jamie O'Neal.
Jamie O'Neal.
Give her the California version.
The Spanish version, yeah. Well, I've been called worse, so that's fine.
How many dates are you doing out here on this West Coast swing?
This time I'm doing 4. I'm going to Vegas after the Saturday night show, and then actually to do a tribute to some soldiers there, and then I'm going on to is it Salinas or Salinas?
Salinas. There you go.
Boy, there's a change of pace. Vegas to Salinas.
And in Salinas, you might get introduced as Jamie O'Neal.
Distinct possibility.
Yeah.
It's a good possibility.
You never know. We're actually
Salad Bowl
opening
of
for
America.
Creedence Clearwater. I think it's revisited.
Yeah, well, Creedence Clearwater Revival originally from there, and the redo of the guys that are left in the band are called Revisited. They're from the Gollywogs, I think, was their original name.
Okay,
a little history for you. So when you're not kicking around on the stage, what do you and your husband like to do?
Well, he likes to work in the studio, and I like to nag him to get out of there. So he's always down there working 12 hours a day usually, and my daughter and I, we like to go to the pool, and we like to paint pottery, because it's summertime and she's out of school, so we basically spend all our days together.
How long have you guys been married?
We've been together for 13 and married for 9.
Well, awesome. I asked that because JB, after a long time of being together with his girlfriend, finally proposed here a couple of weeks ago. So I'm always looking for any kind of advice that could be offered up to JB for the future marriage that he'll be in. Anything that you could give him as advice?
Headphones.
Headphones and underwear off the floor, huh?
No, I do think that it's great if you can have your own things that you like to do, the things that you like to do together, but things that you like to do separately, and allow that person to do those. Because it's kind of a tough thing when you first get married, because we were in a very small apartment when we first got married, and it was kind of a big change for us. Like, wow, what do we do now? You felt like you had to be together 24/7. But it's nice to have both.
There you go. Some words of wisdom for you.
I like it.
All right. Well, listen, we are looking forward to the show coming up on Saturday night. I know phones have been going crazy. I'll find out, where to get tickets, how to get them, and so forth. And we look forward to what I'm sure this will be a very entertaining show. And, hey, thanks for coming out this direction. And thanks also for what you're doing in entertaining the troops. That's something special. Not everybody steps up to the plate and does that. But I'm glad to know that you're doing that. I want you to know that we appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys, and anything I can do. Just thank you for having me on today, and I look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday night.
Sounds good.
Very good.